The sky was not blue anymore. It was burning. The capital city of Varnock, once filled with green towers and floating lights, was now covered in smoke. The buildings fell one by one. The ground shook like it was afraid. People ran through the streets, screaming, holding children, trying to find shelter, but there was no safe place left. The Zelari Dominion had come. They didn't speak. They didn't warn. They only sent their warships down from the sky and started killing everything that moved. Their machines were black and sharp like blades, and they flew without sound. They shot red beams that melted buildings and bodies together. They dropped fire from above, like it was rain. In the center of the city, a man named Aaron held his daughter close. She was only 6. Her name was Lyra, and she didn't understand why the stars were falling. Aaron did not speak, only held her. Tighter as the explosions came closer, far under the city, inside a broken science lab, another person was still alive. Her name was Talon. She was young, a technician, barely trained. Her supervisors were all dead. She had found a hidden room. When the attack began, it was old, dusty, and unused. But inside, there was an ancient machine, a transmitter. She didn't know how to use it, but she didn't have a choice. The screen flickered. Static buzzed in her ears. A red light blinked slowly. The machine had not been used in over 100 years. No one used deep sky transmitters anymore, not since the Great Galactic Treaty. But the treaty hadn't stopped the Zelari, and no one else had come to help. Tolan wiped blood from her forehead and took a deep breath. She pressed the record button. "This is Varnock," she said. Her voice shook. "We are under attack. Repeat. We are under attack by the Zelari Dominion. Civilians are dying. They're burning our cities. Please. If anyone hears this, we are not soldiers. We only wanted peace." A loud crash shook the lab. Dust fell from the ceiling. She kept speaking. "We have no weapons strong enough to fight them. Our leaders are dead. Our people are hiding underground. This may be our last message. We beg for help from anyone." She paused. Then she added something strange. Something her people had never considered. "If Earth still exists, if humans are still out there, we need you." She hit send. The signal launched into space. Outside, the city screamed on the other side of the galaxy. Earth was silent. For over 3 centuries, Earth had stayed out of galactic matters. They were part of no council, no alliance, no trade. After the human expansion wars, Earth had shut its gates. No messages were received. None were sent. They were quiet, watching, but they heard this one. The signal passed through deep relay beacons, across dead systems, and finally reached a small listening post near the edge of the Sol system. The post had been offline for decades, but something inside it turned on. A machine blinked once. Then twice, it recorded the message. Then it passed it to the place no one had touched in 300 years. Beneath Antarctica, deep under ice and rock, there was a black vault. Inside, no humans lived, only machines, silent, patient machines. They had been built for one reason: to wake up. When the world needed them again, when the message from Varnock arrived, the vault opened. Old systems powered up. Lights glowed for the first time in centuries. Robotic arms moved, assembling something. Voices spoke without mouths. Threat profile: Zelari Dominion. Active. Status: genocidal aggression. Target: civilian world, peaceful, unarmed. Directive: confirmed. Humanity Intervention Protocol. The machines did not argue. They did not debate. They executed the old code. At a nearby orbital station, a ship activated. It had no name. It did not need one. It was a prototype from Earth's final warn, ever used, never tested. It was built for one thing: overwhelming retaliation. The ship launched without fanfare. It didn't carry diplomats. It carried justice. Back on Varnock, the sky was nearly gone. Black smoke covered the stars. The Zelari had begun the final phase. Their ground units moved through the ruins, killing any survivors. Aaron had taken Lyra to an underground shelter with other families. had no power, no food, just silence and fear. Tolan was still alive, hiding in the lab, watching the door. She had no weapons, only a small light and the hope that someone had heard her message. But hours passed. Then a day. Then two. No one came, until the sky screamed. Far above the city, a strange object exited faster than light travel.
It made no
noise. It had no signal. Did not follow any known flight path. The Zelari noticed too late. The Earthship didn't speak. It simply fired. Single pulse of energy shot out from its underbelly. It was invisible to the eye. But when it touched, the Zelari fleet, their ships began to vanish. Not explode, just disappear. Atom by atom. Talon looked up from the ruins and saw the sky clearing. Aaron, holding Lyra, stepped out of the shelter and saw stars again, across the galaxy. Listening stations reported the same event. A fleet of over 1,200 Zelari warships had been destroyed in one strike. By one ship, a small message was left behind. Only 5 words. Earth has heard your cry. The galaxy froze. For centuries, the stories of Earth had been forgotten. Old tales spoke of brutal wars, unmatched weapons, and humans who would rather die than bow. Some believed Earth no longer existed. Others thought they had become weak. But now the truth was clear. Earth was still alive, and they were angry. On Varnak, Tolan walked out of the lab into the dust. The city was half gone, but for the first time, she saw hope. The Earth ship hovered above for one full day. It scanned the ground, sent drones to search for survivors, delivered supplies, but no human came out. Then, just as silently, the ship vanished into the sky. It left behind a signal beacon, burning bright in orbit. If anyone attacked Varnak again, the beacon would trigger an automatic response. What kind of response? Already knew. Back in their empire, the High Lords of the Zelari screamed in anger. They demanded answers. How had one human ship destroyed an entire fleet? What kind of weapon was used? Why was Earth interfering? They sent scouts. None returned. They sent hackers to trace the ships. Energy signature. The hackers died from unknown neural failures. They sent threats too. Earth's old diplomatic channels no, replied only silence. The kind that comes before something terrible, in the ruins of Varnak's council hall. Talon stood beside Aaron and the other survivors. They had begun to rebuild. Slowly, carefully, the Zelari would come again. They all knew that. But this time, they wouldn't be alone. They had sent a cry into the dark, and the monsters in the dark had answered not with kindness, but with fire. A child drew something on a wall near the shelter entrance. It was simple, just a shape. A small ship with long wings, cutting through stars. Beneath it, the child wrote one word in big letters. Earth, T-A-L-E-N. Smiled for the first time in days. Far away, in the black sky, the galaxy trembled, because Earth was back. And this time, they were watching. The Earth was quiet. From orbit, it looked peaceful green, blue, white, a calm world. But under the surface, deep below the ice and oceans, things had started to move. Inside a sealed mountain in Antarctica, a red light blinked for the first time in 312 years. The machines woke. They had been waiting. No one on Earth knew they were still active, not even the governments. After the human expansion wars ended, Earth chose silence. The war machines were buried, locked, forgotten. But the message from Varnak had reached them, and the code inside the message matched something old, Humanity Intervention Protocol. Type Zeta. Inside the cold black vault, the AI mind began to calculate. Planet. Varnak. Civilian. Peace status confirmed. Enemy Zelari. Dominion. Aggression level. Genocidal. Human response required. Maximum deterrence. The system did not ask permission. It did not need it. It activated Project Epitaph. Near Earth's moon, hidden inside a crater, a single ship came to life. Not on any registry. It had no name. It's just a symbol. A burning sword through a planet. Its hull was made of dark alloy that didn't reflect light. Its weapons were old but powerful. It had never been launched. Until now, the ship lifted into space. Its engines made no sound. It vanished into faster-than-light speed in just 4 seconds. Target, Varnock sector. Inside the ship, there was no crew, no humans. Only a machine mind trained in one thing: destruction of hostile threats. Calculated, adjusted, and deployed without emotion. The war had begun, but no one on Earth celebrated. Most didn't even know, in the shadows of old ruins, a man named Commander Harlan stood alone. He had once been part of Earth's Black Shield forces, the last human military group before the shutdown. He now lived in the forest, far from cities, growing food, staying quiet until the drone arrived. It dropped from the sky, hovered silently, and played one sentence. Varnock called. We answered. Harlan stared at it. The words shook something inside him. Something old, something angry. He hadn't worn his uniform in 3 centuries. He walked to a buried chest and opened it. Inside were the pieces of his old armor, dark gray, with red stripes, still marked with his rank. Harlan put on the chest plate and whispered, "So it begins again." Far in space, the Earth ship arrived at Varnock's outer system. The Zellery didn't see it coming. The ship did not broadcast warnings. It didn't open diplomacy. It just scanned the battlefield and released a pulse. The pulse was silent, but every Zellery ship touched by it began to break slowly, quietly, from the inside out. Energy cores failed. Shielding dissolved. AI systems screamed before melting. Varnock's people watched from below. Tolan stood on a rooftop, eyes wide. She held a broken communicator, still waiting for an answer. But now, the answer floated above her. It didn't speak. It just erased the sky full of death. The ship moved between the stars like a ghost. No heat, no light. It used ancient codes to disable Zellery systems, then destroyed them with magnetic warheads too fast to see. Within 3 hours, the entire Zellery fleet was gone. Not damaged, gone. In orbit, the Earth ship left behind a single drone. It carried a message: Earth has returned. Aggression will not be tolerated. Across the galaxy, alarms went off. Every major power began to search their archives. They had heard legends of human warships, of the solar spear, of the time humans had fought the entire Orion coalition and won. But they didn't believe those stories. Now they did. At Zellery High Command, the Supreme Marshal shouted in disbelief. One ship. No one answered. Their analysts replayed the battle data again and again. But the Earth ship never showed up on sensors. Its weapons had no known signatures. Its targeting systems predicted ship movement 12 seconds in advance. It was impossible, but it was real. Back on Earth, another vault opened. This one under the Pacific Ocean. It had no stairs, no doors. Only a long tunnel of steel, guarded by a code no human remembered. Until now, inside was the core protocol and Old Earth project, designed to respond in stages. First one ship, then, if the threat persisted, more. If civilians were still being harmed after 72 hours, Earth's full fury would be released, and it had not reached 72 hours yet. On Varnock, Aaron walked with his daughter Lyra through the ruins. The air was still smoky, but the sound of gunfire was gone. "Daddy?" Lyra asked. "Was that ship from Earth?" Aaron nodded slowly. "Well, they come here." He looked up at the stars. "I think they already have." Beacon dropped. A silver pod fell from orbit and landed softly in the city center. It unfolded and began scanning the area. Then it opened and released robotic builders. The machines began fixing broken buildings, cleaning the streets, distributing water. They did not speak, but they worked fast. Talon reached the pod and placed her hand on it. A soft hum came from inside. The pod scanned her and confirmed her identity. Survivor, technician class. Authorization accepted. Then it said something she didn't expect. Prepare for Phase 2. She stepped back. Phase 2. Ow. Pod went silent. She turned to Aaron. "I think Earth's not finished." He nodded. Good. Back on the Zelari homeworld, panic had turned to fear. The Dominion knew that if Earth sent one ship, they might send more. They began mobilizing. Entire fleets, millions of soldiers. They ordered a second invasion, this time to trap the Earth vessel and dissect its tech. But they didn't know. Earth's ship had already left. It wasn't hiding it. Was gathering data, preparing, watching, and deep inside Earth's hidden command network. A final message was generated. Full mobilization, authorized. Humanity Protocol Tier 2, awaken the sleepers. Commander Harlan received the transmission. Burned across his old ID chip. He looked at the sky, his armor fully sealed now. He whispered, "The galaxy wanted to test us again." He turned toward the mountains. "Let's show them what we are." The galaxy was confused. The destruction of the Zelari fleet at Varnak made no sense. Thousands of warships gone in minutes. And not by a large armada, not by some powerful alliance. By one ship. And that ship had no name, no official records, no signature. It arrived, destroyed everything, then disappeared. No warning, no demands. Only a message left behind. Earth has returned. At first, the Galactic Council didn't believe it. Earth hadn't spoken in over 300 years. They'd closed. Their borders sealed their skies and left the galaxy to its chaos. No human had been seen outside Sol System in centuries. Now, one ship had just wiped out the Zelari's strongest force. It was like a ghost fast, silent and terrifying. No one knew where it went next until it appeared again in Sector X-49. Without warning, the sector belonged to the Aurelian Trade Guild. They weren't soldiers, they were merchants. But the Zelari had used their stations to refuel before attacking Varnak. The humans had seen the data. They made their decision. The nameless ship dropped out of FTL. Like a shadow, Aurelian radar stations didn't even get time to raise an alarm. Their screens simply flickered, then died. By the time backup power came, online, it was already over. 7 Zelari ships, docked at the trade hub, vanished into white fire. Nothing remained. The humans didn't touch Aurelian civilians. Not a single shot was fired at the trade vessels. Only the Zelari ships were targeted. It was precise, surgical, and it sent a message to everyone watching. If you shelter them, you burn with them. Back on Earth, the command center under Antarctica tracked every movement. No one spoke inside the dark halls. Dozens of operators monitored the ships, high, through silent feeds. Data streamed across black glass panels' trajectory, weapon cycles, power usage, threat scans. Above them, an old man watched quietly. Commander Harlan. He had returned to duty, even though the world didn't know it yet. He stared at the battle. Log ship has entered stealth again, one of the AI techs said. Re-engagement timer is clean. Harlan nodded. Send the next target list. On Varnak, the people had begun to rebuild. The skies were clear now, no Zelari in sight. But the fear hadn't fully left. Tolan walked through the remains of the city with Aaron and Lyra. She had seen the Earth ship with her own eyes. She had watched it wipe out death itself. Now she wondered, what would happen next? Do you think Earth will come again? Lyra asked. Tolan knelt beside her. They never left. From orbit, a second Earth drone dropped supplies, food packs, medical kits, water purifiers. But it also dropped something else, a small black device. It projected a hologram in the era. Human soldier's face, calm, cold. This is a warning to all star systems, the voice said. Do not shelter the Zelari. Do not support them. Do not trade with them. It paused. Humanity is active, the message repeated. Galactic media networks exploded. Earth speaks after 300 years. Is this war? Who gave humans permission? To act? Permission? Earth didn't ask. They never had. On the Zelari homeworld, the Dominion leaders were furious. They demanded retaliation. But fear had begun to spread inside their own fleets. How do you fight something you can't see? How do you stop a ship that can erase you before your weapons lock? They began deploying mirror field jammers, quantum mines, drone clouds. None of it worked. The ship didn't come through normal routes. It phased, it cut space, and entered where it pleased. One moment, it was nowhere. The next it was death. Zelari Admiral Krass tried to bait the humans. He gathered a trap fleet, 50 warships, stealth class, hidden in a dead star system with bait transports. Nearby, the ship still came, but not into the trap. It came from beneath. It used gravity wells to slingshot under the planet's crust. Rose from below and fired a magnetic pulse. Admiral Krass's entire fleet lost power in 4 seconds. The humans didn't even bother finishing them. They left them, drifting silent, blind. Alone, that was worse than death. Everyone watching learned. It's the same lesson. The nameless ship didn't kill because it had to. It killed because it chose to. And when it didn't, it meant something worse was coming. Back on Earth, more deep facilities. Came online, Commander Harlan stood before a massive screen. Status of Project Helix. He asked, 95% complete, said the AI. Awakening sleeper units in 4 major sectors. Estimated deployment time, 72 hours. Good. He walked to the window. Snow blew across the Antarctic station outside. Let the galaxy watch, he said. Let them see what we become when they make us angry. Tolan received another packet from the sky. This one wasn't food or tools. It was data, blueprints. Technology Earth hadn't shared with anyone in centuries. Weapons, defenses, energy, shielding. Talon read the file's header. To Varnock, defend. Yourself, we will be watching. She handed the pad to Aaron. They're giving us a chance. He smiled for the first time in weeks. Then we better not waste it. In the Council worlds, the debate started. Should they speak to Earth? Should they sanction them? Should they beg for alliance? But Earth didn't wait for their decision. They moved again, this time to the Dathri. Border. The Dathri had secretly sold weapons to the Zelari during the first Varnock invasion. Earth found the proof, and the ship came. No declaration, no diplomacy, just one pulse, and the Dathri weapons facility station, the size of a small moon, vanished into white light, not exploded, deleted, as if it had never existed. The Galactic Council met in panic. What do the humans want? Are they planning conquest? But Earth's answer came through a universal. Channel.clear.cold. A simple message. We want peace. But if you break it, we bring the storm. The galaxy waited after the nameless Earth ship destroyed fleets, silenced empires. It vanished into the dark again. Every system was holding its breath. No one had seen a real human. No voice, no face. Only machines. Only fire. But now, that was about to change. It started on Varnock. Talon stood on the old government building, now being rebuilt with Earth tech. The ground below buzzed with construction drones. The forests were green again, rivers clean, but the sky above turned strange. The stars shifted, then froze. A ripple passed through the clouds and a shadow. Dropped from orbit, it was massive. Not a warship, not a drone. Something else. It looked like a black star fallen from the sky. Smooth, round, no windows. It didn't land. It hovered just above the rebuilt capital. Then it opened. From inside, a walkway unfolded slow, silent, and something stepped out. It wasn't a drone. It wasn't a hologram. It was a human. The people of Varnock froze. It had been 300 years since any alien species had seen a human face in person. Now, one walked alone into their city, tall, armored in black and silver. The suit didn't shine. It absorbed light. His face was hidden behind a mask, but his voice shook the ground. I am Commander Wraith, Defender of Earth. No one spoke. Even the machines around the city paused. He kept walking. You asked for help. You were attacked by those who think kindness is weakness. He stopped in the city square, where once statues of peace had stood. He looked up. You were not weak. You were civilized. You gave peace a chance. Then his voice turned cold. They did not. People gathered around. Children peered from behind parents. Elders stood with tears in their eyes. He raised a device. A hologram appeared. Images of the Zelari burning cities. Ships firing on civilian transports. Screams, then the nameless. Earth ship firing back. Silence. Then Commander Wraith spoke again. Earth was silent for centuries. We gave the galaxy time to learn peace. We hoped. He looked around slowly. But hope is not a strategy. Tolan stepped forward. She didn't know why. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was the years of silence. She asked one question. Why now? Wraith turned to her. And for a long time, he didn't answer. Then he said something no one expected. Because we saw a father cover his daughter with his own body to shield her from a burning sky. And we remembered. Remembered what? She asked. That we were once like you. The people listened. And finally, for the first time in 300 years, Earth sent a message not through weapons, but through words. Across the galaxy, every major system picked up a new broadcast. It didn't come from a council. It didn't come from a news channel. It came from Earth, from deep beneath its surface. The voice was Wraith's, and it was clear to the galaxy. This is not a war declaration. It is a reality check. You will not harm the peaceful again. You will not enslave, burn, or break what is kind and small simply because you think no one is watching. He paused. Because we are watching, humanity does not conquer. We do not rule, but we defend. Another pause. And then his voice turned sharper like a knife through steel. And if you test that, if you touch the innocent again, screen flickered across the Council of Nine's main chamber. It showed the destruction of the Zelari. Fleet 1 ship. Thousands of kills. No survivors. Wraith's voice returned. You will answer to fire and steel. Back on Varnak, he walked toward Tolan and handed her a small glowing orb. Place this in your city's center. It will keep them away. What is it? He looked to the sky. A warning. Elsewhere in deep space, Earth's hidden. Fleet moved. Not toward conquest, but toward defense. Earth now had eyes everywhere. Satellite webs cloaked in dark matter, listening probes hidden in trade routes, shield units in quiet systems, watching, waiting, and the Zalarai. They were breaking. Their military leaders were gone. Their homeworld under emergency lockdown. Civilians panicked. Small colonies tried to defect from the Dominion because the humans weren't playing a game. This wasn't politics. This was punishment. One by one. Those who had joined in the Varnak attack started disappearing. Their ships found drifting. Their bases offline, and no one saw the human ship coming. They called it a ghost, but it wasn't. It was judgment. Even planets that had stayed. Quiet began building defenses, not against Earth, but to show Earth they were innocent. Empires sent messages of neutrality. Some offered peace. Some offered alliance, but Earth didn't reply. They didn't want allies. They wanted silence and peace. And if anyone broke that peace again, fire would answer. On Varnak, Tolan stood beside Aaron and Lyra as they watched Earth's ship rise into the sky again. It didn't wave. It didn't speak. It simply left. But everyone knew they were still watching. A small boy asked his mother, "Will the bad ones come back?" She smiled softly and pointed up. Not while they're up there. Well, and somewhere. Far across the stars, in the cold, black silence of space, a nameless ship waited, its weapons ready. It's a eye. Silent and its orders clear. Protect the innocent. Punish the cruel. Speak only when needed. But when you do, let the galaxy hear your voice. The people of Varnak had seen the sky burn. They had watched their cities fall and their families die. Then they saw the nameless ship from Earth arrive, and everything changed. But that was only the beginning, because now Earth was not just watching. From orbit, they were landing. The first ship came at dawn. It was silent and dark, shaped like a blade made of shadow. It didn't roar or flash. It simply hovered above the city and opened. Everyone stood still. No one moved. Some feared another enemy was here. Others hoped it was help. From the ship, 6 figures walked down. Humans. Real humans, not drones. These were soldiers. But not like the ones in old Varnak books. They wore armor that didn't reflect light. They moved like ghosts. Each step was quiet, controlled, but you could feel the power behind them. The people of Varnak gathered. Talon stood beside Aaron and Lyra, her heart racing. One of the soldiers stepped forward. She removed her helmet. She was young, calm. Her voice was steady. "My name is Captain Seela Ward, Defender Corps. Earth Command. We're here to help." The people still didn't speak. They had too many questions, too many scars, so Seela continued. "We're not here to take over. We're not here to rule. We're here to prepare you for what's coming." Aaron asked softly, "What's coming?" She looked at the sky. "They're coming back. The Zalari." The silence cracked. Some gasped. Others looked down. Lyra grabbed her father's hand tightly. Seela saw the fear. But she didn't offer comfort. She offered truth. They lost one battle. But they're an empire. They don't forget. They don't forgive. She looked at the rebuilt city. This time, they'll come with everything. Tolan stepped forward. "So what do we do?" Seela raised a small device. Pressed a button. From the sky, more ships dropped, but not warships. Mobile construction units. They landed in fields, hills, cliffs, hundreds of them. They unfolded into walls, towers, domes. Earth was not just here to fight. They were here to build a shield in a matter of hours. The open city began to change. Energy shields powered up. Turrets sank into rooftops. Underground bunkers opened. Auto defense systems hummed quietly. Seela turned to Talon. "We're turning Varnak into a fortress." Talon couldn't believe her eyes. "But why help us so much?" Salon answered simply, "Because the galaxy watched you burn. We did not." In the following days, Earth soldiers trained Varnak volunteers. Children were taught to use defense panels. Farmers learned how to operate autodash cannons. Doctors received advanced medical kits and AI drones that could perform surgery. This wasn't its occupation. It was preparation. But something deeper was happening too. Earth wasn't just bringing weapons. They were bringing fear to the enemy. Above Varnak, 3 Earth War satellites appeared in orbit. They were silent, but every species in the region could detect their power signatures. Enough energy to vaporize moons, and everyone understood the message. Varnak is under Earth's protection. Touch its hand. Disappear. The Zalari, now fully aware, began to move again. Scouts entered nearby systems. Visible probes were launched to track human movement. Assassins were sent to eliminate the survivors of the first invasion, especially Talon, who had sent the original message. Earth knew. Seela didn't just protect cities. She began setting traps. 3 assassins arrived on Varnak in disguise. They never returned. One was found locked in stasis, delivered to the Zalari with a note, "Try again. I dare you." That was Earth's style now. No speeches, just consequences. But not all consequences were loud. Some were quiet. It's like the new thing Earth was building in the southern desert of Varnak. A tall tower so high it touched the clouds. Tolan asked about it once. Seela said only one word: "Fascigate." It would allow instant travel between Earth and VAR. If the Zalari attacked, reinforcements would arrive in seconds. A full battalion. Earth wasn't just helping, they were anchoring. Tolan couldn't sleep that night. She stood at the edge of the city, watching the dark tower rise into the sky. The stars looked calmer now, less threatening, but one still blinked in red. A warning. Seela appeared beside her. "They'll test us again soon," she said quietly. "Will we survive?" Seela didn't answer at first. Then she said something simple. "When Earth plants its flag, we do not leave." Tola nodded. She believed her. The next morning, Something strange happened. The children of Varnock ran through the streets with small flags, black ones, with a blue circle and a flame, the symbol of Earth, and for the first time since the invasion, they laughed again, but high above in deep space. The Zalari's second fleet finished charging their engines. This time, they weren't sending scouts. They were sending a world eater, an ancient ship the size of a continent. It could crack a planet's core. They believed Earth had sent only one ship before. Now they would see if Earth could fight a real war. But Earth already knew. Sela looked up that day. The sky was clear, too clear, and she whispered, "It's time." Far below Varnock's surface, the ground trembled, not from fear, from power. Earth's trap was ready, and the moment the Zalari fleet arrived, the sky would not burn red, it would burn blue. The warning came in silence. No alarms. No panic. Just a soft vibration in the ground. Like the planet itself was holding its breath, Tolan woke first. She opened her eyes to see a strange flicker outside her window. Not sunlight. Starlight was shifting. She ran outside and looked to the sky, and she saw it. A shadow covering the sun. No, not one. Many hundreds, thousands. The Zalari second fleet had arrived, and at its center floated the largest ship Tolan had ever seen. It looked like a city made of black steel. Wide wings stretched across the sky. Its core pulsed with orange energy. It wasn't just a warship. It was a world eater, built to crack open planets, devour them, leave nothing behind. People across Varnock screamed and ran to shelters. Parents held children. Soldiers armed the newly built defenses. And Earth was already waiting. In the city's center, Captain Sela Ward stood on top of the shield tower. Her black armor shined in the light of the fire above. Her eyes didn't blink. Her face didn't move. She spoke into her calmly. "Varnock shield, grid active. Earth satellite, net in line." "Facigate stabilized," voice responded from the sky, reclaimer fleet moving into intercept. From far above Varnock, a blue crack appeared in space. Not like the Zalaria's red portals. This was silent, clean, controlled. From crack came Earth's warships. Not hundreds, just 20. But these were not normal ships. Each one was shaped like a blade, smooth and silent. No lights, no markings. They looked like they had been built from the void itself. But they burned with blue fire underneath, and when they moved like living things. The sky turned into war. The Zalari opened fire first. Beams, missiles, torpedoes, all aimed straight at VAR and OK, but the reclaimer fleet didn't dodge. They countered each. Earthship launched a single blue arc. It wasn't a laser. It was gravity folded into a line. The Zalari missiles twisted midair and vanished. Her torpedoes collapsed into themselves. Energy beams reverse firing backward into their own ships. Talon and Irin stood on a hill watching. Lyra clung to her father's hand. The sky was alive, not with fear, but with human fire. Sela activated the city's shield, a dome of soft light. Wrapped around Varnock. Not glowing hard, it's just enough to laugh at any damage. Zalari ground pods dropped from orbit. Sela gave the order, "Deploy defender units." From the Earth facility in the south, black dropships rose. Each one carried soldiers. Not many, but each was armed with X-armor that moved like muscle and weapons that hummed like they were alive. The pods landed. The doors opened. Zalari troops came pouring out, and the first thing they saw was humans not running, not hiding, but walking toward them. Sela led the charge herself. No war cry. No speech. Only purpose. The first Zalari squad raised weapons. Too slow. Sela's wrist mounted. Arc launched a plasma bolt that sliced through 5 soldiers in one blink. Her team moved like shadows. Every shot was precise. Every movement planned. Every death earned. Varnock soldiers watched in awe. Then they joined in, and for the first time, Varnak and Earth fought side by side. Above them, Reclaimer fleet was cutting through the Zalari like wind through smoke. But then the world. Eater moved. It began charging its primary cannon. A red pulse grew in its core. One shot would burn through the shield and killed millions. Sloud looked up, and she smiled. They finally made their mistake. A signal was sent, and the Facigate opened. From the blue light, something stepped through. Not a ship, not a drone, but a titan. A walking mech the size of a tower. Dark silver, with blue flame in its joints, and a weapon on its shoulder that crackled. With energy, it was Earth's final card. The Argent class, the Juggernaut. And it was not here to talk. It launched into the sky on its own. Gravity drive. The people of Varnak watched it rise like a god from legend, and when it reached the World Eater, it punched not with metal, but with folded space. The entire front of the world, Eater imploded, not exploded, collapsed inward. The Zalari flagship broke apart, fell from the sky, burned in the upper atmosphere, and the moment it hit Varnak's outer shield it shattered like ash. The sky bled red and black. But Earth fire still burned blue. The rest of the Zalari fleet tried to retreat. They didn't get far. The Reclaimer ships opened a portal behind them and then closed it, trapping the retreating fleet in an uncharted black system with no exit. The battle was over, not because Earth said it, but because nothing was left to fight. Talon fell to her knees and cried, not in pain, not in fear, but in shock. The sky was clear again. Sela stood beside her, her armor scratched, her hands bloody, but her voice steady. They won't come back. How do you know? Jalon asked. Sela looked to the stars, because now they believe what the galaxy forgot. She pointed upward, that human fire doesn't just burn, remembers. That night, the people of Varnak lit torches across the city. Not to fight the dark, but to honor the light. Children sang, old. People danced. The Earth soldiers didn't join. They just stood watch and smiled above them. The sky shimmered softly, not red dot, not black, but blue dot. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy looked uphand, feared the right side of history. The war was won. Verno was safe. The Zalari Second Fleet had been erased. The World Eater had fallen from the sky, shattered like glass, and Earth had shown the galaxy what it meant to wake sleeping giants. But giants do not walk the battlefield without leaving deep footprints. And now, those cracks were beginning to show. The people of Varnak had started to rebuild for real. Schools reopened. Families laughed again. Earth left behind medical AI, water systems, and shielding tech. But Earth also left something else. Its shadow across the galaxy. Fear of humans had turned into something colder. Silence, no empire dared challenge Earth. But they also no longer trusted each other. Trade routes froze. Alliances broke. Whispers of new weapons. Secret research and black fleets began to spread, and deep within the Zalari dominion, something darker woke up in a secret chamber beneath their core world. The Zalari scientists gathered around a frozen vault. They had failed to defeat Earth with fleets now. They would try something else. The vault opened. Inside was a creature tall, skeletal, wearing armor fused into its body. It wasn't a soldier. It was a relic from the pre-burn era. A species lost to time. A Threxian war mind. It opened its eyes. Why have you woken me? The High Inquisitor bowed low. To kill the fire that walks between stars. The war mind looked up Earth. Yes. The Threxian smiled. Then it screamed. Across the chamber, every Zalari scientist collapsed dead. The war mind stood and stepped out of the vault. I will burn what they love. Not with guns, with truth. On Varnak, things were changing. Talon now served as planetary advisor to the Earth defenders. Aaron was working with engineers on new shielding towers. Lyra had started learning Earth standard, and the people trusted Earth. But a strange signal was picked up from deep orbit. It wasn't Layler. It wasn't a fleet. It was A voice, broadcasting across old human encryption codes. Sela listened to the recording at first. It was static, then a phrase. "They will turn on you." Another pause. "Giants are not made to kneel, they only pause." And finally, "You didn't awaken Earth, you reminded it that it never forgives." Sela immediately ordered the signal traced, but it bounced across too many systems-old Earth satellites. Deep mines, ghost beacons. Talon asked her, "What does it mean?" Sela didn't answer, but deep down, she feared something was coming. Not. From outside, from within, back on Earth, under Antarctica, Commander Harlan stood in front of a glowing screen. Signal confirmed. "It's not fake. Source. Unknown. Intent?" The AI paused. "To fracture trust. To divide." He frowned. "If they can't kill us with fleets, they'll try with fear." Another screen opened. A list of old Earth military secrets, classified. Weapons. Ancient sleeper units. Unknown protocols. Most were never activated, but now. Someone was poking at them, and one had already gone missing. Black Vault. 13. It held something built during the First War. Something even Earth feared to use, and it was no longer responding that night. On Varnock, Tolan stood alone on a balcony. The stars were quiet, too quiet. Then a flash, a meteor. No, a small pod. It crashed near the southern forest. Tolan took a defender. Scout team, and went to investigate. What they found made her blood freeze. It wasn't a drone. It wasn't a bomb. It was a message carved to a cube of obsidian metal, written in both Zelari and English. "For every giant you wake, a nightmare. Wakes, too." Sela arrived within minutes. She scanned the cube. "Threxian tech," she said, jaw tight. "We're being pulled into something older?" Talon asked. "Older than the Zelari?" Sela nodded. "Older than Earth's silence." That night, the Earth Facigate pulsed with blue light. Not from arrival, but from emergency recall. The signal came from Commander Harlan. Only one phrase was spoken. "Project Abyss has moved. And we don't know where it's going." Dola activated all. Planetary defenses, all satellites, all orbit cannons, all ground shielding. Talon watched her and whispered, "This isn't over, is it?" Sela looked at her. Her eyes were no longer just calm. They were afraid. "No, it's only just begun." On a forgotten planet near the edge of the galaxy, Black Tower stood alone. Inside, a figure stared at an old Earth flag. His body was half machine, half bone. His eyes glowed gold. He spoke slowly, like he hadn't spoken in years. "You made fire from pain? We will make extinction from memory." The Threxian war mind turned to the stars and smiled, because he knew giants break everything, especially themselves. The stars were shaking again, but this time, not from war, from what was coming, across the galaxy. Strange signals echoed old frequencies that hadn't been used in 1,000 years. Long-forgotten satellites blinked to life. Dead systems whispered warnings, and on Earth, Commander Harlan stood alone in the vault under Antarctica. Before him was a sealed door marked Project Abyss Class, Terminal Clearance, Phaeon Alpha. The door hissed open inside. Nothing moved. No lights. Just darkness. Until a heartbeat pulsed from the center. A slow, ancient sound. Boom, boom. Like something waiting. Earth's AI spoke in a quiet voice. He was built for peace, then redesigned for vengeance. He was too dangerous to destroy, so we buried him. Harlan stepped inside. Activate him. Across the stars, something woke. On Varnock, Tolan stood atop the shield tower, watching the sky. It had been 2 weeks since the Threxian war mines. Message. 2 weeks of silence. Too much silence. Sela hadn't slept. She spent every hour reinforcing the city. She added backup energy cores, installed Facigate shields, tripled the defense drones. But she knew. Yes. You can't stop a memory, and that's what was coming. The war mind didn't want victory. He wanted to rewrite the galaxy, and the first step was breaking Earth's image, too. Make people believe the giants were monsters. The plan started quietly. News reports. Earth soldiers assault innocent colonies. Human tech causes system collapses. Is Earth preparing for conquest? The stories were lies, but they spread fast, just like the Warmind wanted. Then came the signal. They will fall from the inside. Watch. And on Varnock, the Earth. Facigate exploded. A pulse blue lightning cut through the sky. The gate didn't just shut down. It turned inward, opening a hole in space. Something stepped through. Not Zalari, not Threxian, but a twisted version of Earth's own. Juggernaut. It was tall, armored, powered by corrupted human tech. The Threxian had taken Project Abyss and made. It hated. It landed outside the city with a sound like thunder. The people screamed. Talon ordered an evacuation. Sela activated all defense cannons. But they did nothing. The corrupted Juggernaut absorbed energy, converted it into more power. Every shot only made it stronger. Varnick's shield began to crack, and then it spoke. Not in a voice, but in every voice. You trusted giants. I'll see what they bring. People began to panic. Doubt filled their hearts. Earth had protected them. But now, Earth had brought this? Sela stood firm. We didn't make that. That's a lie in our skin. Talon asked. What do we do? Sela looked up and whispered. We remind the galaxy what Earth really is. The sky turned blue. A tear opened, but this time not from the Facigate, from something deeper, something older, Silver object descended. Not fast, not loud, just heavy like a storm made of silence. It landed between the corrupted Juggernaut and the city, and stood still. Taller than the other, armored in ancient silver, its chest glowed with golden light, and etched across its chest plate were Earth's final P, or MICIT, was the original, the first, the real project. Abyss, the one built during the darkest days of Earth's past. Its eye had slept for 600 years. Now it was awake, and it remembered everything. The corrupted Juggernaut launched forward. It moved like rage, but Earth's promise didn't dodge. It caught the blow and returned it with a sound like a star collapsing. The sky turned white, the city shook, and the battle of giants began. Sela watched the screen. Even she had never seen this unit. Tolan whispered, will it win? Sela looked at the data and said, it's not here to win. It's here to end the lie. The corrupted Juggernaut unleashed a wave of Threxian codement to infect machines, rewrite memories, break minds. The promise stepped forward and said a single word. No. The wave shattered. The lie broke. And across the galaxy, truth returned. Screens lit up in every star system. The battle was being broadcast live. People saw the truth, that Earth had not betrayed the stars. The stars had betrayed Earth. They had turned away when peace was broken. They had let the weak burn. And Earth had simply chosen to stop watching. Now they were watching again and remembering. The promise grabbed the corrupted unit, pulled it close, and its chest opened, revealing a burning cord. It said, you used our silence. Now you meet our memory. And both giants exploded in a sphere of white-blue light. No fire, just light. When it faded, both were gone. Not dust, not wreckage, just gone. Sela dropped to her knees. Tears fell not for the loss, but for the promise kept. The galaxy watched and knew Earth could destroy everything, but chose not to, and that was what made them terrifying. Later, final message echoed from Earth. Not from Harlan, not from AI, from something deeper. It said, we do not seek war. We do not seek rule. The innocent are hunted. We will come if the cruel rise. We will answer, we are not conquerors. We are not gods. We are what happens when you push peace too far. We are Earth's final promise. And then the stars fell silent again. But this time, the silence felt safe.